But anyway, gonna have a great show for you. Bear with me just a second while I get the podcast recording going. It's great having being able to talk to you live, but I gotta do this too. So, and I'm working on a way so that you will be able to hear what I hear. Don't have it done yet, but I'm almost there. So that way you can hear the music and everything. We want this to be a rewarding experience for you. You're giving me your time. I got to give you something in return. So you know. But anyway, all right. Hey, stoners. Welcome to another great episode of Sticks and Stones. Folks, I have a great show for you today. I am pairing, I'll show you guys on the live stream here. I am pairing Sagamore Spirits Rye Barrel Select with a Cohiba Makassar. Um, don't really know what Makassar means, but anyway. And it is a very lovely band, kind of a mirrory silver finish. I like the band. I do. It's really nice. Uh, and I'm expecting that this match will, be like a match made in heaven. Um, especially for people like me that are cigar and spirit enthusiasts. Um, I believe now. I've had the Sagamore Rye. I have not had the Makassar, and I am uh, looking forward to some just really rich, complex flavors off of the Sagamore Rye. Uh, Maybe some hints of caramel and vanilla. It's definitely going to have a lot of rye spice. That's just the way rye works. Uh, and I think it will blend very well with the Cohiba Makassar. So I just love saying that, Makassar. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Pop the cork, cut the stick, and get to toasting. Now, Sagamore Spirit is a distillery in Baltimore, started by the guy, Kevin, I think his name is, maybe his last name starts with an M. Anyway, who is the founder of Under Armour. He branched out into spirits. So, uh, rye, even though they do have multiple blends or brands or lines, whatever you want to call it, they only make rye. That's it. And rye was really like the predominant spirit back in the Revolutionary War times, late 1700s, early 1800s, and just a little bit of information here. Right at the end of that century, like 1799, 1800, right around there, George Washington was actually the largest distiller of rye in America. He had a very large operation going for that time. Anyway, this is the Barrel Select. It is a blend of rye whiskeys from Indiana and Maryland. Uh, the mash bill is a blend of rye spirit that is 95% rye and another blend that is 51% rye. So when they blend those two together, you're ending up with about a 73% rye content there nearabouts. So it is 55% alcohol by volume, which makes it a healthy 110 proof. And it is aged for 6 years in virgin American white oak barrels. So let's go ahead and pour some up. Not a fantastic cork pop, but a nice one. I'm sorry, I think I said 7 years. I think it's actually aged 7 years. I was off by one. All righty. Now, That was a healthy pour. I am known for my heavy hand when it comes to pouring spirits. That is a very beautiful in the glass. It has, it's got real good legs on it. Not fantastic, but they are good. And it is just a beautiful, deep copper color. Those nice reddish hues to it. Uh, it is a beautiful spirit. Now on the nose, I get rye, rye, and some more rye. It is very rye forward, but underneath that, it is fairly complex as well. So I get some notes of honey and dill, maybe a little fennel and licorice, and even some cherries, maybe a little bit of maple syrup in there. Glad the lawn guys are done. Helps you and helps me. And I also pick up a little bit of oakiness, a little bit of woodiness. It's kind of what you'd expect from a whiskey. Now, on the palate. Much like the nose, you get quite a bit of grain. There is a decent amount of heat. It is 110 proof, but other than the grain, you get more honey and a lot like the nose, licorice, fennel. I am picking up a little bit of mint, kind of like peppermint, some dried citrus peels, and maybe some notes of cinnamon in there as well. I went to a Sagamore Spirits tasting at the Cowboy Club. It's probably been a year ago now, and you got to sample all of their different ryes. And they only focus on rye, and they do it very well. A lot of people are kind of put off by rye because rye is spicier, corn is sweeter, which is what bourbon is made with, and most other American whiskeys, unless you're talking about the malted spirits. But they do it very well, and it's really smooth. Not only this Barrel Select, but there are others as well. I'd have to go back and look. Um, it wasn't this one, but there was one in their line that I just thought was fantastic. And I think we had one that night that was upwards of 130 proof. I mean, it was on up there, like in the clouds, with only the scantest of suitors around it from other brands. That is just a really good spirit. Like I said, it's 110 proof, so you do have quite a bit of heat on it, but it's got a great complex profile that comes after that initial burst of rye. That it really does make it a very enjoyable spirit. You probably want to be careful with it at 110 proof, but uh, it's not a mixer. It's definitely a sipper, either neat, maybe chill. I haven't ever had it chilled. Might have to try that because I think with just a dab of water, it might open it up even more. Um, Not much, just a little. And what that does for those that are not whiskey drinkers is when you add a little bit of water to it, that kind of tones down the alcohol and it allows the other flavors to come through a little more. You know, you would naturally think, oh, you put water in, it's going to water it down. That's why you only use, I've never seen anybody use more than maybe a teaspoon of water, just enough to kind of tamp down the heat, and that allows those other flavors to come through even more. I don't do it for the show because I want it to be straight out of the bottle. I actually prefer drinking spirit chilled, whether it's rye or bourbon or scotch. Scotch, I'm generally a neat guy. It's scotch. You know, you drink it neat. But I keep a lot of spirits in my outdoor refrigerator, my garage refrigerator, just to keep them cold all the time, especially like vodkas. I figure, you think of vodka, you think of Russia and Finland and, like that. It's cold. So now let's go ahead and get on to the stick. The Cohiba Makassar. Now, Cohiba is one of the, um, I mean, most well-known brands globally. I mean, they're right up there with Punch and Arturo Fuente and maybe H. Upman. Uh, they've managed to build a global brand and are extremely well known. Uh, this particular stick, maybe not so much. Now, the Makassar is in reference, and it's what is it? It is in reference to is spelled differently. Makassar, the cigar, has a C in it. Makassar, the tree, is spelled with a K, Makassar, and that is an ebony tree. It's a very dark wooded tree that has these real distinctive stripes in it. Grows in Indonesia, and if you buy these by the box, which I can't afford to do, the box has some insets of Makassar wood in the box. That is amazing. So, maybe one day I'll be able to afford maybe a box of these. Now, this is the General Cigar Dominica is the factory. The Vitola is a Toro Grande. It is 6x52 on the ring gauge, even though it really feels like a 6x60. I verified to make sure before I said it. It is a Toro Grande, 6x52. It is rolled in the Dominican Republic. It has a filler that is Dominican and Nicaraguan. It has a Connecticut broadleaf binder, and it has a beautiful dark Connecticut Habano wrapper. Now, visually, it is a dark brown, as those of you on live stream can see. And I hope my microphone's up enough on the audio. It is a very dark brown. It's got some molted spots, darker spots in it. It is a little bit of a rough roll. It's not a really smooth wrapper. There is a minimal to significant amount of veining, but the veining is not really pronounced. It is very light veining in the heaviness of it. They don't stick out a lot. They don't protrude a lot. It has very tight, almost invisible seams, and it has a rather roughly attached triple cap. So let's go ahead and give this sucker a cut. I know there are some people that say, "Oh, you shouldn't wet that before you cut it." I think it makes it cut better. So, and as with a lot of things in very good cut in the spirit and cigar world, it's up to you. What do you want to do? So, all right. On the nose, I get chocolate, maybe kind of like a chocolate brownie batter kind of aroma. Some barnyard, kind of that kind of mustiness. Bread. A little bit of leather, and I think maybe some gingerbread. All right, let's give it a cold draw. Cold draw is not overly complex. It's very simple. It has notes of gingerbread, and then it also mixes in some cinnamon. Let's give it a light. I cut with my Cassetti multi-cutter on the V-cut, feather floating around. And I am using my Rocky Patel Envoy 5-torch the light. Puts out copious amounts of smoke. I get some notes of initially where cinnamon was kind of in the background on the cold draw. It's in the foreground after the light. I also pick up notes of oak and maybe some kind of soft, subtly mango kind of sweetness. Just maybe a little touch of citrus. Then there's also some floral notes in there. They kind of that and the mango sweetness kind of bring in a creaminess to the palate. A little bit of black pepper on the retro. Let's try them together. The kind of the smoothness, even though it is 110 proof, I think the Sagamore is fairly smooth. And I think that enhances the creamy texture of the cigar. It kind of creates a kind of a good balance on your palate. I think the aging in virgin oak barrels kind of adds to the depth and the warmth, and they makes these go pretty well together. But it does allow the intricate flavors of the Cohiba Macassar kind of shine on through. It's a pretty good pairing. I can say that just right away, and I'm not going to make any long-term determinations here. Just right away, the stick is good. I think it goes well with the Sagamore. I think between the two, I think I like the Spirit a little better. Uh, but we still got quite a ways to go here. It is a really good burn, and again, just a really good amount of smoke coming off this stick. It is burning just a little uneven. I'll watch that as I go along, and hopefully there's nothing inside the stick that'll, make it canoe or anything like that. All righty. All right. For those of you that are listening on the podcast, this is where I'm going to put y'all on hold, and I will be back about the halfway mark and give you an update. All right. That's just you guys. I hope everybody's had a good week. I've had a pretty good week. Yesterday, rained all day. Still got to the gym. Did my 4 miles on the elliptical, trying to stay in shape. It's hard to do when you're a DV, disabled veteran. I can't run, so I can't do like treadmill and get out and run on the sidewalk or whatever. I can walk, but the elliptical is non-impact, so I can do that. Still makes my back hurt a little bit, but not too bad. But I got to stay in shape, otherwise I'll just be like hanging over everywhere. is the Sticks-n-Stonez is a great cook. I think, again, we're early on. I think this is a really good, just general smoking cigar. Uh, I could I could walk into a cigar shop, wander around in there, and go, oh yeah, Cohiba Macassar. Yeah, I'll smoke one of those. Uh, I don't know that I would go in there looking for it. Uh, I have some really good favorite cigars that I like. Uh, we'll see how this one goes. If I remember right, Cohiba was one of the brands that I smoked while I was in Baghdad. Uh, I know I smoked quite a few punch cigars, maybe an H. Upman or two, and I think Cohiba. And they were all Cubans, even though not real Cubans, Cuban cigars. Even though you were on an American military base, uh, all the little people that work in the shops there, they were all from out in town. They were Iraqis, and so they had access to all that stuff. Just couldn't bring them home officially. Thought my ass dropped. I was really going to get irate because I'm like, I just started this smoke. Remember flying out of Baghdad. Our tour was over, and I worked in transportation and logistics. We loaded and unloaded the aircraft. We basically ran the flight line out there, and so we also we did to some extent control some of the planes that came in and out. So one of our guys, he had a contact at Transcom, and he said, we've got a Humvee here that got hit by an IED, and we just need to get it back to the United States. We need a C-17 Globemaster to come pick it up. C-17 is the second largest cargo plane and the best flying cargo plane in the Air Force, which basically means in the world. And it'll hold like a half a dozen or more Humvees. But we had this airplane come to Baghdad just for this one Humvee, and then we caught a ride on it. So we didn't have to fly on a C-130 propeller plane to Qatar and then wait around there for days to pick up a flight back home. Oh no, we flew straight to Frankfurt, Germany, spent the night there, and then flew on the next day to the United States. It was awesome. There were people even asking, they're like, this airplane came here just for a Humvee? Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, I just came to get this Humvee. It's a very important Humvee. You know, there was a whole lot we couldn't control while we were there, but there was some things we could control. We got rocketed and mortared a lot, so we figured we could just cut our own plane to get home. And it was awesome too. We flew basically all night. I think we got into Frankfurt like really early in the morning, and there we were supposed to pick up our contract flight, which is basically these relatively small quote unquote airlines that all they do is contract work for like the government. So they'd have a DC-10 that had 350 seats in it, and it would be all military. That plane was specifically for us, And so we got there, and our plane had some kind of mechanical problems or flight crew rest problems or something. And so they're like, well, we hate to tell you this, but we're going to have to make you stay the night here in Frankfurt, Germany. And we don't have any availability for you on the base, so we're going to have to put you in a hotel out in Frankfurt. Uh, it actually ended up being in Darmstadt, which was like 20 miles from the Air Force base. And it was a 250 euro a night hotel, the nice hotel. Of course, after spending 6 months in Baghdad, it could have been Motel 6 and been a nice hotel. But it had twin beds in it. I was like, I don't think I've ever been in a hotel room that had twin beds in it. And it had a bidet. Well, after 6 months of showering in the military showers, that bidet felt really good. I'll say it did. Uh, and just the ability to come out and be clean, you know, just take a shower, everything's clean. You're not going outside to a dust storm or whatever. And then food. My heritage is German. Uh, Johann Dieter Elroth is the first Elrod in my heritage that came over from the East Palatinate, or not East Palatine, East, I can't remember how they pronounce it. Anyway, we were in like, kind of in South Central Germany. Um, and, uh, and so I love German food. I love German beer. Mm. They don't make beer over here like they make it over there. It's different. It's really different. I'll get to that story in a minute. But anyway, so we got to go and, like eat German food and stuff ourselves. It was all on the airline because it was their problem. Uh, Hang on. Don't want it to go out because I'm not tending it properly. Uh, and it was cold. We'd been in Baghdad. It'd get like 110, 120 during the day, but it was a dry heat, so you didn't really feel like it was that hot. You just knew it was hot. And at night, it'd get down into like the 40s. Well, we fly into Germany, it's snowing. So I had to go down to the mall a few blocks away and get a toboggan to go on my head because my head was cold. Uh, and so I going over into the menswear in this whatever store this was, and this this German lady comes up and basically asked me if she could help me, and so I got to use what little bit of German I could actually speak, which is not much more than this. I was like, meine Deutsche nicht sehr gut, aber verständlich. Langsamer, bitte, which means my German is not so good, and it's understandable, but could you please slow down? And so I say something in English, and so she starts talking to me in English. But if you have a chance to go to Europe, hang on. If you have a chance to go to Europe, you definitely need to go to Germany. Uh, I don't like all of their politics and stuff over there, but the German people are just warm and loving and accommodating. And if you go over there knowing a few phrases in German, they will embrace you. Like they're so happy that you have gone to the lengths, even if just like me, I only know several phrases uh, and a lot of just individual words, uh, like Bahnhof train station, Bahnhof. Uh, and if you just say that, then they'll point you in the right direction, that way or whatever. Uh, but or maybe Bahnhof's bathroom. If you get them mixed up, they like that too. They think it's funny. Uh, but oh, she was just she helped me with the words, and I told her what I was looking for, and I was like, yeah, I need something to keep me warm, and so she went and we got a little knit toboggan to go on my crown, and it was really great, to get to kind of just wander out and interact with those people, and it wasn't costing me a thing, which was good because I didn't have any money, but. Then I got to spend 2 weeks over there in a little farther south and a little bit east, I believe, in Ramstein near Kaiserslautern. I stayed on this. I worked at Ramstein, but we were like 40 miles away, staying on this old fighter base that is now just housing for military people, and So we had to make this drive every day. Well, we were working 12-hour shifts. The shift started at 7, so we had to be there at 6:45. So we had to leave at like 5:15, 5:30 in the morning. Fortunately, the guy that was driving on our shift, we had one big van, and the guy that was driving on our shift, he had been stationed in Germany. He knew how to drive. He did things with that van I didn't think vans could do, but nobody passed him on the Autobahn, that's for sure. Uh, but then by the time we get home, it's like 8 o'clock at night. And we got there, flew in, had flown all night to get there. And the we're in our little briefing or in briefing, and they come out and they tell us, they're like, all right, well, we're happy to have you guys here. Said, unfortunately, the guys before you complained on their exit surveys that they didn't get enough training, that they got too much time off. And so you guys are going to be working 12-hour shifts, and we will give you one day off. And those of you that are working the night shift, you'll go to work tonight. And we were like, tell us who those bastards were, because we're going to go beat their asses. We didn't come to Germany to work. We came to Germany to be in Germany. So I didn't get to see a whole lot, but I did get to bring home, a couple of really nice steins. And I got to eat some really great German food. Oh, people know how to cook, they know how to drink. I'd love to go over to Oktoberfest one year, go to Munich. That's my favorite soccer team, football club, is the Munich Reds. Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich. They played yesterday and won. I didn't get to see it. I got to see the match before it, which was Cologne and so I don't remember who they were playing, but Cologne lost. And they were second to last in the standings, and the team they were playing was last. And they lost to the last place team, which meant they're now the last place team. They look pretty bummed about that. And it was a home game. A lot of people was bummed about that. I think I'm finally starting to catch my voice on this whole podcast thing. I like the live stream part of it. I could just get on here and, shoot the poop. Now, I know you saw that. Good Lord. Rookie move. Just when I'm saying how great I think things are going. I feel like the little kid on Ghostbusters Afterlife, the first Ghostbusters movie that came out here in the last while. I got ash all over my hands. Damn it. Anyway, it actually, for those of you that may have stuck around for all of this nonsense, it has now straightened out. It was a little wonky when we started, but it is correcting itself. That's a good sign of the quality that Cohiba puts out. And we're getting pretty close to the halfway mark. We're 33 minutes in. A lot of people will ask me why I put the smoke in the glass. There's just things that you do that you want to do it because there's really nobody else doing it. Kind of makes you a little unique. But I have noticed that some cigars, the smoke will be like heavier, and it will hang in the glass. I like that, and I kind of use that as one of my little standards of what I'm looking at. I like for that to really hang in there near that spirit for a while before it drifts out, as opposed to just and gone. Doesn't mean anything, but I like it. Anyway, where was I at? Oh, I was staying in this fighter base, old fighter base, Cold War era. It's just housing now. And there's my phone. There was a beer that I found that had this boar's head on it, and You can't get it over here. I don't even think you can get it shipped over here. But it was so delicious, and it looked like Dr. Pepper. I mean, you couldn't see through it. We went to this German restaurant there in that little town. There was like two German restaurants, and then there was a Chinese place and a uh, pizza place and an Italian place. And so we went to the German place, and it was one of these places that you go in. It's been there for years, decades, and you walk in, and it's got a really tall ceiling, and all around the walls, all the way around, is like old mementos from the American military flyers that had been there. There's like the little garrison caps, the just set on their head, and flight jackets, and just all kinds of stuff. I mean, just so much history up there because they've been in business since the like 50s and 60s, and that fighter base is what really fed that town. But anyway, we go in, you order what you're ordering, and of course everybody drinks beer. Beer over there is cheaper than soda. And the lady comes up and she asked me what I wanted, and I tell her I want such and such beer, and she says, "Do you want a regular or a bad boy?" Oh, I want a bad boy. So they bring this mug out. This is like a regular glass mug, like this big, like that big around. I had to lift it with both hands, and I managed to get all but about that much of it, and I just couldn't hold anymore. I had to want to, but I didn't have the space to. And you you'd hold that up, and you couldn't see through it. Like I said, it looked like Dr. Pepper, and there was stuff like floating down in the bottom of it because it's unfiltered. And oh, it was so delicious. Oh, definitely go to Germany. Go to Germany if you get the opportunity. I know a lot of people like to go to France, but I'm sorry, but the people in France, they tend to be, they don't like, if you can't go over there and speak French fluently, they don't want to talk to you. Even though they'll be watching CNN in English, and you're like, I know you speak English. You're watching CNN in English. But they act like they don't understand you. But people in Germany are not like that. They like it if you give it a try. Meine Deutsche nicht sehr gut. My German isn't very good. That's all you have to say, Americana, and they'll talk to you in English, and be happy that you tried. They'll even teach you stuff. Now, what they teach you may not be, what you want to say in public, but they'll think it's hilarious if you just say that to somebody. They're like, "Go on, say it, say it." Such a beautiful country too. I I got to go to Heidelberg. We were trying to go down into the Alps. This guy, on my day off, there were like four of us. We rented a Mercedes, which is like renting a Toyota over here, and we were going to go over. He had tracked down ancestors that he had over in the southeast Germany in the Alps, and we were going to go visit them, just pop in on them. And we got as far as Heidelberg, and we were like, "Man, this is taking a while. Even on the Autobahn, this is a long way. We didn't think it was this far." And so we just decided we were going to hang out in Heidelberg. So we went to the Heidelberg Castle, which is like 700 years old, something like that. It's beautiful. Sits up on top of a mountain, overlooking the town of city of Heidelberg. And then on the other side, there's a river that runs through Heidelberg. And on the other side of the river, there's another mountain. And there's houses, one row of houses right along the edge of the river, with a little highway between the houses and the riverbank. And then it's just like a vertical incline going up, and you can see the different little fields that they have, whatever it is they're growing. And I was just like, oh, that's such a beautiful place. Man, I mean, nothing beats America, but I think I'd have to go America, Virgin Islands, America, and Germany, kind of in that order. So, I'm hoping to make it to the Virgin Islands, America one day. If Mrs. Sticks-n-Stonez is listening. almost let it go out. I got to talking too much. I think we got a little bit farther to go before we have to bring the other people in. This is actually, I mean, it's for the amount of smoke it puts off, you would really think that you're burning through it quick, but it's not. It's a fairly slow burner. I mean, we're at 40 minutes, which is the first like 8 minutes. So we're at like 30 minutes of burn time, and we're not quite halfway yet. So this is going to end up being a little over an hour smoke. I don't know if you guys want to hang around that long or not. You know, if you don't, I mean, that's okay, but I'd like for you to. It's a good cigar. It's worth an hour. Yeah, it's really like dying out quick. There it goes. Yeah, I was doing too much talking. But I can't just sit out here and like stare at the camera and just say nothing. I got to talk. So one of these days I need to have some people come in. I can talk to them too. I am working on, I just got to get this put together because he's already agreed to do it. Matter of fact, he enthusiastically agreed to do it. Yeah, I'm going to have to touch it up a little bit. I won't say which distillery right now because I don't want to jinx anything, but I've talked to the founder of one of the more recent distilleries in the U.S. And I was like, man, I'd love to have you on the show sometime. Kind of talk to you about your line and, the whiskey business in general. Oh man, I love it. I love it. Just let me know. And I'm like, all right. I said, I don't want to like push you or anything. Let me come up with some questions because I don't want them to be, like lame questions. I want some really good pointed questions that he can really go into depth, not just yeah or no. Because then if I ask him like 6 or 7 questions, we've taken up about 10 minutes. And I'm like, I think it needs to last longer than that if you're going to bring in somebody that's an expert in, the field. And it's got some really good product too. So y'all need to keep watching for that because I'm going to go ahead and get it. I'm going to go ahead and get it scheduled so that I can have him in. I don't know if it'll be a live stream or not. It kind of depend on his availability. But we'll work it out. And you'll definitely want to watch that one because that'll really give you a lot of information about this particular brand. And as a matter of fact, I'm getting another one of their bottles Monday. And it's being delivered. I love it when just spirits show up at the door. The liquid kind, not the other kind. We'll keep the other kind away. But, when adult libations show up at your door, that's a great day. I've noticed some changes in this stick as we've gone along. I know people think I'm just on here rattling, not paying attention, but I am. I have noticed some changes. And actually, I think we're at about the halfway mark. So let's go ahead and bring in the podcast people, and we'll tell them what I think. Hey, stoners, I am back here at the half. This stick has it's kind of changed a little bit. We've got some licorice being offered up, along with kind of a wheat, grainy note on the palate. There's a nuttiness and kind of a cake battery sweetness. Mrs. Sticks-n-Stonez lets me lick the bowl and the spoon because she makes all her cakes from scratch, not like Duncan Hines scratch. And it's really good. And so you've got that, and it's blending with the honey and the licorice, and then you kind of have that mint note in the spirit, and then you also have the citrus notes coming into the spirit. So that's all kind of blending together really well. Now I can say, and I've told this to the people on live stream, if you're not listening to me on live stream, you need to, because you may pick up some things that you didn't know. And some things that I may start talking about, and you're like, I have no idea where that came from. This is one of those things. I'm not just overwhelmed by the cigar. It does offer some nice complexity, but the Sagamore uh, Barrel Select Rye is really good, and I think the palate notes, even though they are kind of rye forward, um, the palate notes I think do kind of support the cigar a little bit. So, we've got that going for us. Uh, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to burn this down the rest of the way to the band, and then I will come back and give you folks my final thoughts. There you go. That's all it took. Now then, they're happy for another little bit, and we're going to burn the rest of this one. I also have a little something in the works for my merch. It's about to expand, and I'm partnering with somebody that I think will really give it some gusto. I've been doing the Printify, Etsy, Pinterest, all that kind of stuff, and it doesn't work very well. Uh, if you're doing that full time, maybe you can make a living at it. But to me, it's just kind of a support. The show is the primary thing. Uh, so I haven't done very well, but I think this company I'm going to partner up with, it's what they do. So I like that, and I think it's going to work really well. They can be really creative, and I can just give them the idea, and then they'll be like, "All right, here's this. Do you like it? Oh yeah, I like that. Let's go ahead and let's do that." Uh, so I'm trying to get the No Shoes Bar and Grill and Sticks-n-Stone show all kind of merged together into some I don't know. We'll think along the lines of Margaritaville, that kind of merch. So something like that. Got something like that coming. Just keep watching. I got to get him some ideas this week. He and I had a phone call yesterday. So, but again, don't want to say too much until it's done, and don't want to jinx it. So, but now you know more than you did last week, because I told you last week, and I've been working on something and trying to get this thing worked. Yeah. So now we actually were able to have a call, talk. Love the guy. Um, he's like, all right. He said, well, I'm going to listen to a bunch of your episodes so that I can kind of get a feel for what you do and where you're going, and send me some ideas that you have, and we'll get our creative people on it and work something up for you. So I'm very excited. This has been kind of going back to the halfway mark, uh, just for you guys. This is we're not telling them about this right now. I mean, this has been a really good cigar. Uh, I think it's very versatile. You could smoke it with a lot of different things, uh, but it is not. It doesn't like wow you. Like the Rocky Patel 60, probably my most favorite cigar in the world. Props to Rocky. He knows what he's doing. Uh, I'd really love to have him on the show sometime. So if any of you know him, send him my way. Uh, but that Rocky Patel 60, Sixty, not 60, that is a delicious cigar. It's got chocolate and cherries and all kinds of just really great stuff in it. Um, and it goes so well with so many different things. And it actually, like I said, I thought the Sagamore was kind of holding this pairing up to a little higher level. Uh, it does it with the spirits. And that is just a wonderful cigar that I love to smoke. I've got like 3 5-packs that are unopened in my humidor right now in my King Chi 145L. So need to get you one of those. You can find it on my Amazon shop. Uh, that is a wonderful, cigar cabinet. I still call it a humidor. It's got these LED lights in it. You turn them on, you can see all three shelves of your lovelies there, just staring at you, going, "Smoke me today, smoke me today," and it'll hold 650 cigars plus. Depends on the size of the cigar. And I've got a app on my phone. I've got a hygrometer that sets in there, and it tells you on the outside this temperature and this humidity. But then I always like to verify that, trust and verify. For those of you that weren't around for President Reagan, trust and verify. And so that way I can, check and make sure. And that little hygrometer, it goes to my phone. Not only does it have I've got one in there with a screen on it so I can see, plus then I can verify on the outside. Plus I have this little hygrometer that is Bluetooth to my phone. So I can even be, let's say Mrs. Sticks-n-Stones and I are out on a date. I can look and say, all right, yeah, they're at 69% humidity. That's exactly where I want them, right in there in 68 to 72. But I think I've had it like a month or so. I've only added water to it twice. Yeah, it keeps it exactly where I want it, and it has such a great seal capability to keep the air sealed inside. It doesn't let the outside air in, doesn't let the inside air out, and so it stays at that constant humidity for so long before you have to add water to it again. I didn't even put my electric humidification system that I had in my old King Chi. I didn't even put it into the new one because I didn't need it. It had its own humidification system in there, and it works wonderfully. So, and I now have a couple of cigar cabinets for sale if anybody wants them. If you live in the DFW area, because I can't ship these things. These are expensive. They're expensive to ship, but I've got a small one. I'll maybe hold 100, 150 cigars. And then I got a little bit larger one that'll hold like 250 cigars. And they're both just sitting there empty right now. And the 145L, I haven't even scratched the surface on filling it up yet. One thing I have noticed, again, I know I just sounds like I'm on here rattling, but I'm not. I'm paying attention. I don't know if you can see that on the visual, but that seam is 3/4 of an inch to an inch away from the burn line, and it appears like it's already starting to split a little bit. I can actually see it on the screen now, so I think you can see it. That's troublesome. You don't want your cigar to come apart on you, especially your a Cohiba. Not like you're, doing a knockoff or whatever. Still a great amount of smoke coming off this stick. Those notes of cinnamon and nuts and licorice. It's a really good stick. I'll give you my final take on it here shortly, but I think, like I said to you earlier, it's a good stick. Definitely wouldn't turn it down, but it doesn't make it up to my up into my like top 10. And we're back to really having to draw hard on it for smoke. This one, I bought this in a 5-pack, and what I'll usually do is I'll buy them in a 5-pack and I'll smoke one or two, kind of get a feel for it. But this one, I decided a few days ago this is the one I was going to do, and I didn't even try a test. I was just going to jump out and see how I did. So it's okay. I did all right. Not my best, but you know, you got to have those. Otherwise, it just seems like you're a homer. Oh, they're all great. No, no, they're different. Uh, but if you're talking about premium hand rolled cigars, not, Swisher Sweets or King Edwards or whatever that you buy at the White Owl, that you buy at the convenience store, they're all going to be good. I don't think I've ever had a bad premium hand rolled cigar. But, some are not as good as others. It's just the way it is. It's the way it is with, everything. So I've had to touch it up a couple of times. And now you're still hanging in there from the beginning. It has started, it had straightened itself out and it had a really nice, even burn line. But it's gotten a little wavy again. And that seam, oh yeah, I just barely touched it. Just barely touched it. You can see right there, cracked. And I know my humidor is doing its job. I can check if that wasn't where I was doing my live stream right now, but it's on there. Actually, hang on just a second. I hope you can still hear me. I hope I didn't screw myself up. But one of my daughters is asking me a question on text. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and try and straighten this up because it has gotten even worse. That is very unfortunate. It's already had some reservations, not for dinner on this particular stick, and it seems like it is the last half is not nearly as good and consistent in the manufacturing part as the rest. It looks a little dark in there. Yeah, that is just completely now separating, and we'll be exposing the binder here momentarily if that continues. So, but we're back to a really great volume of smoke being put off. So it's just one you really have to tend. And I'm not really a big rye guy. I like rye. As I've been telling Mrs. Sticks-n-Stonez for years, rye's making a comeback. But it's a really good spirit. It does have a little bit of heat to it at 110 proof, but still to be that stout, it is it's smooth to be 110 proof. Probably not quite as smooth as I think I had what spirit did I had a spirit here a few months ago. It was like 128. I think it has been the strongest proof that I've had that I've paired. I can't remember what it was now, but it was it was exceptionally smooth. I mean, like to the point of being dangerous. You're like, yeah, she keeps texting me. And I sent her one saying recording, but now she sent me like 3 more texts. Kids. But this does have a little bit of heat to it. It might not be what you would want to jump out and try if you're just getting into spirits and cigars. I would not start there. This is really more of an experienced whiskey drinker spirit. If you're just getting into it, I would start somewhere in the neighborhood of a Gentleman Jack, uh, Suntory Toki, which I did last week. Um, and if you wanted to get into some of the kind of the, I don't know, flavored things, uh, Akashe Ume is a really good spirit. Now it's they put sugar plums in it when they age it, so it's not a completely just straight whiskey, but it is very good. That's a couple of the Japanese ones, the Toki and the Akashe Ume. I can tell. I can tell I'm getting close to the bottom of this glass on this 110 proof. Daddy may need a nap. And I got uh, nice grainy notes in my nose. I kind of retro inhaled at that moment, and that was really good. There was a little bit of pepper, but there was a lot of graininess to it, a lot of the rye spice. Uh, Sagamore Spirits, they know what they're doing. Like I said earlier, they only do rye. They just do several different lines of rye, and they're really good at it. It's probably one of my more enjoyable ryes. I have some other ones that I hardly ever get out. Uh, I like some ryes, but a lot of ryes I don't. I think one I'd really like to try, simply because it's aged 12 years, is Bullet makes a rye. And of course, the more something is aged, the smoother it's supposed to get. And 12 years is almost twice of what this is aged. So I really want to try that one, and and then find a good pairing for it. I think that'd be a really good one. Give me some comments. Let me know what you think about today. If I've been enjoyable or entertaining, or you're like, oh man, I wasted an hour on this. I had a good time. I mean, I've really enjoyed it. We're probably 15 minutes or so. We're getting close. We're almost there. But I actually made it up into double digits as far as viewers. So hey, I'm really feeling good. I like that. Mrs. Sticks-n-Stones is looking to change my setup out here. I'm not really sure how things will go after that, because I'm sitting at the all my shows take place here at the No Shoes Bar and Grill, uh, on the dining table outside. Actually, I don't think I can turn this very well. No, that's not it. It's this one, I think. If y'all start looking at the ceiling or the floor, I'm sorry. Anyway, I got a sign over there. I've posted it before. Uh, that says Brent's No Shoes Bar and Grill, established 2018. It's when we bought this house. Uh, where every hour is happy. So I think you can kind of see where I may be going with some of my merchandise in this new collaboration. Oh, something else that's coming off as we're getting closer. The band. The heat's starting to affect the band. It's about ready to come off. I really enjoyed this pairing, though. I mean, I know I've talked about the cigar a little bit and some of the issues I've had with it, but and any day that you can get out, I mean, there's hardly a cloud in the sky. It's beautiful. It's probably mid 60s. There's a nice breeze. Even though I've got my whatever they call these things in, uh, and so I hear myself, and I don't hear much. I can hear it through the speaker, but I can't hear what's outside. I can only hear it through the sound here, and man, got ash everywhere. Terrible. Um, you know, that can make things, even if you do have a cigar or a spirit that's maybe not pulling its weight, uh, it just makes you're having a great day, you know? That's kind of the way I feel about it. Any day you can get out and sit down and enjoy the outsides and have a smoke and a drink and just kind of enjoy yourself, you know? It's it's a great day. Here pretty soon. I think this is April, late April. We're about 60 days away from broadcasting at the Sticks-n-Stonez Southern Command. I'm ready for vacation. If Mrs. Sticks-n-Stones would let me, I'd live at the beach. Now that we're getting farther down here, I hadn't really noticed it before, but I do see a little bit of tooth. So I may have some nice little flavor packets opening up here momentarily. There you go. All right. I will say, you do have to tend this cigar quite a bit. Yeah, I've touched it up, I think, 3 times since I've been on here. Uh, but that may be a little more than some of the other sticks I smoke, but not terrible. You do just have to watch it, and you will probably have to touch it up sometime in the 60 to 65 minutes that it'll take you to smoke it. It is kind of a slow burner. Uh, and sorry, I hope you didn't hear that. I just belched. Uh, um, it's a slow burner, but it put out a lot of smoke to be a slow burner. And it's kind of odd when you consider the fact that you are having to touch it up along the way, you know? And I just thought about this too, is I V cut this. So you have a pretty good amount of surface area for the smoke to come through as you're drawing. I would think you would not want to punch cut this. Uh, for those of you that might not be familiar, you could see the hole in, this is a punch cutter on the bottom of my Rocky Patel Envoy. And you just punch a hole in the stick. I would not think you would want to do that with this stick. I think you'd be constantly having to tend it. And I may try the next one of these that I smoke, I may try using a guillotine on it, which will cut. This is the one I used, and that's the guillotine. And so that allows for like maximum draw. I tend to like the punch. I mean the V because it's kind of in the middle, not using the smallest thing I can use and not cutting basically the entire cap off. Uh, I think the V does is it's right in the middle, so you kind of get a good balance between resistance and airflow. So that sounded like it was really nice and technical. So happy summer's coming. You can hear the pool in the background. Uh, my entire weekend is spent in the pool. I love it. I guess that's why I joined the Navy. before I went to the Army and the Air Force. I even, ever so briefly, because Mrs. Sticks-n-Stonez was shot that down pretty quick, ever so briefly thought, I'd like to, when I retire here in just a few more years, uh, buy a boat and sail down to the islands, just live on the boat. And she didn't like that idea. But when I was in the Navy, another story while we finish this up, we're almost done. Uh, I was on the USS Ainsworth, which is now part of the Turkish Navy. We leased it out. I think actually now it's a museum over in Turkey somewhere. But anyway, we spent my 2 years, we spent most of our time in the Caribbean doing drug interdiction with the DEA. And when we weren't doing that, we were doing war games with the British Navy, Canadian Navy, kind of being good neighbors. Uh, and we were in St. Thomas, and my buddy, it's my best friend on the boat, Carl. He was a Jamaican immigrant, and we were in St. Thomas, Christiansted, I think is the name of the town, city, whatever. And we had gone to Arby's to eat lunch. It's the only Arby's I've ever been into that had a bar in it, a full bar with a bartender. And it was on the second floor of a building. You walked up the stairs and went in, and they had the hurricane shutters, all the windows. There were no glass. It was just open. And we sat down at the bar, ordered roast beef, curly fries. I love their fries. And I know he got a Grand Marnier. I don't know what I got. That was way back in the early 90s before I got into this kind of stuff. But it's one of those things that I remembered and I think probably led me this way. Anyway, so we got to talking to the guy because he was not from there. You could tell. He sounded a lot more like me. And so, one of us asked him, we're like, all right, you're not from here. What's your story? Something to that effect. And he was like, well, I'm from Houston, Texas. And he said, I was sitting in rush hour traffic one morning in my like 2 or 3 hour commute to work, which I couldn't even have fathomed at that point. Uh, and he said, I just thought to myself, why am I doing this? And he said, at that point, I started formulating a plan. And he said, I sold everything I had, sold my house, sold my car, everything. Apparently he was single. And he bought a sailboat. And he said, my boat is out there in the harbor. And he said, every morning I get up, I have breakfast, I get in my dinghy, and I come in, tie up at the pier out there. And he said, I come here and go to work. He said, I don't even feel like I'm working because I just sit here and mix drinks and talk to people all day. And he said, I get off, and he said, I get back in my dinghy, go back to my boat, throw a line in the water, catch my dinner, and I just live. And I was like, man, this dude's got it figured out. He said, my address is a post office box. And he said, if I get tired of being here, I just pull up anchor and sail somewhere else. Let me let you marinate on that a minute. And I was just like, wow, this dude he is truly living. Too often we are caught up in the cars and houses and clothes and all that kind of stuff. And he got back to the basics. He had a boat. He ate what he caught, and he just served drinks and talked to people all day. That's not working. That's living. We're almost here. We're about to bring the other folks in. That Sagamore's really some good stuff. But like I said in the beginning, for any of you that weren't here at the beginning, an hour and 15 minutes ago, uh, It's got some heat to it, but you might want to put maybe a teaspoon of water in it, but you definitely don't want to mix it. It's not a mixing spirit. Uh, and I might try it, just try it with a cube in it, but it's really good. You just got to be careful with it. So, you know, all right, let's bring the other folks in so we can get this thing wrapped up. Hey, stoners, I am back. This was a good pairing. As the people on live stream know, I won't say it's a great pairing, but it is good. Uh, the Sagamore had some really nice complexity to it and some wonderful palate notes. Once you got past the rye forward, you got into the various different things that it offered up to you with licorice and honey, and I think there was some cinnamon in there, uh, and it is smooth to be 110 proof. Like we were just talking about before I brought you guys back in. Uh, it's smooth. It's a smooth 110, but it is 110. You got to be careful with it. The stick I liked. I didn't really love, but I liked. It had some nice complexity to it as well. It just didn't like blow me away. I wasn't just like, oh, this is a great cigar. Uh, there are probably other Cohiba lines out there that I would probably prefer because I know I've had the blue label and the red label. I don't know if I've had the gray label. Everything seems to now be colors with Cohiba because you've got the red, the blue, the gray, the kind of silvery mirror finish. Uh, but I do feel that the spirit kind of carried this pairing. Uh, I would give the spirit, I'd give it an 85 out of 100. Uh, Really good spirit. I think you should try. This is the Barrel Select, and then Sagamore Spirits also has several other lines of rye. Rye's all they do. That's it. So now the stick, I would give the stick 75 matchsticks out of 100. Uh, while I had you guys on the podcast on hold, I was talking to the live stream folks. There were some construction issues. The wrapper started peeling away, and um, it burned all throughout. I had to tend it a lot. I had to light it like 3 or 4 different times, and it would wave back and forth between a really straight burn line and a really wonky burn line. Um, and then the fact that I kept having to relight it, even though I thought I was doing a pretty decent job of, puffing on it every so often. It just did seem to need a lot of support. And right now, down to the band, there is a spot on the wrapper where the seam is peeling away before the band, and then there's also a spot between the band and the heel that is peeling away. Thank you. I'm glad you support that. Uh, as I listen to the people or the pooches in the other yards, apparently they agree with me. So I would give it 75 out of 100. It's a good stick. I mean, it's a premium hand rolled cigar, just not one of my favorites. So, but it does have some pretty nice notes to it. Really, for me, it was just more of the uh, construction problems. I kept having to relight it, and then it starts coming apart on me. That's never a good thing. So, anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this pairing as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Again, like I told the people on live stream, hey, any day you can get out and have a premium cigar and have a top shelf spirit and have a beautiful day outside. That's a great afternoon. So uh, please hit like, subscribe, share, notify, ring all the bells, blow all the whistles, push all the thumbs up, whatever. That lets me know that you are enjoying me. Lets all the rhythms know that you're enjoying me, and boosts me up. You can go out and visit our website, sticksnstonez.com, sticksnstonez.com. You can read our blog. I got to get some more blog posts up. I haven't done it in a while. I've kind of been lazy. Um, But also you can listen to prior episodes out there. And the biggest thing is you can go and visit our affiliate partners. I have links to all of them right there on various pages. Uh, I, I, I really appreciate all of the affiliate partnerships I have. Keeper's Heart Whiskey, that's one of them. In a lot of places around the country, I think it's like 27 states, you can order it and they'll deliver it right to your house. That's that's you can't get any easier than that. They bring it right to you. They bring you alcohol. Caliber Coffee, that is a veteran-owned coffee company. Definitely support those guys. Support our veterans. They're trying to make it in the world and owning their own business. Uh, Freedom Fatigues. I am wearing my colonial American flag, Second Amendment Freedom Fatigue shirt today. It's over here, Freedom Fatigues, so people on live stream can see their logo on the right sleeve. Freedom Fatigues offers some great t-shirts, man. These are so soft. I love them. You can maybe hear me feeling how soft this t-shirt is. All right, I'll stop. Don't want any of y'all getting, weirded out on me. That's another veteran-owned company. Go visit them. Sticks-n-Stones 20 will get you a 20% discount. Can't beat that, right? I'm getting 20% off. Uh, True Classic Tees. Mrs. Sticks-n-Stone said the other day, I think I wore, it was a Henley, short sleeve Henley, 3 buttons t-shirt on Friday. And she was like, oh, I like that shirt. I'm like, I know, I look good in it, don't I? That's a True Classic Tees. Love True Classic. They improve. They improve as good as you look. They make it better. So definitely need to see those guys. Total Wine and Cigars International. That's where I get the spirits. That's where I get the cigars. There will be a link in the show description on the podcast that will take you directly to the cigar and directly to the spirit at Cigars International and Total Wine. So you can go and see it right then while you're listening to the show. Decide if you want to have it shipped to you or not, or go pick it up at Total Wine or not, whatever, you know. Uh, and then tip top proper cocktails for that. For those times when you decide, I'm just getting home from work and I don't feel like fixing a old fashioned, but I would like one. Tip top proper cocktails. It's in a can. It uses real alcohol, the real spirit, not the malt stuff. Fix you an old fashioned, fix you an espresso martini, fix you a margarita. Tip Top has you taken care of. All of those are available on the Sticks-n-Stones website. You can click and go right out to them. I appreciate it. They appreciate it. You know. Anyway, so until we get to be together again, keep your sticks dry, stones cold, and have a great day. All right, folks. Geez, it's coming apart like crazy. That's it. I'll see y'all next weekend. Sticks dry, stones cold. Have a great day.